Welcome to the overview of the Talent Intelligence Collective Weighted Decision Intelligence Dashboard. This is a dashboard that allows you to look at specific anchor locations or anchor variables, look at all the different parameters associated with that and make a decision. So what does that mean? Biggest use case for this will be location studies. In location studies, you've got the fixed variable in the given location, and then across each of those locations, you're going to have a range of parameters. Could be talent supply, could be talent cost, competitiveness, real estate, etc. But you want to make a decision. You want to compare and contrast the given anchor variable against the given parameters. The reason for this dashboard is comparing that can be very tricky. If you're looking at different locations with different parameters, if certain locations have massive figures, it can skew the outcome. If you're working with certain stakeholders, they want certain parameters pushed heavier than others, so it can skew the outcome. This tool allows you to run various different scenarios, various different models, all at the same time to various different stakeholders, so you can, in real time, look at the different options and possibilities, but also it smooths out the massive discrepancies. What does that mean? So if we run a live example, to use this tool, it's very simple. You go into the parameters and values. Here you have a row 1, just to tell you what all the different parameters are, or what the different options for each column are. Leave that alone. That's there purely to remind you what you should be doing in each one. Row 2 onwards is where you can start entering your data. So you get your data from whatever data provider you may have, or the aggregated data online, whatever data source you may have. You simply copy and paste it in. So here you can see this is based on a location study. We've got various different locations in column A, and then as we run across, we've got talent supply, talent demand, supply-demand ratio, ease of doing business, etc. as you run across column B, C, D, E. The tool itself can handle a lot of parameters, so it goes up to 150 different parameters that you can run for any given location or any given anchor value, and it can give you 50 different anchor values. So you could quite feasibly run this for 50 different locations on 150 different parameters. We can then run into the scenarios. So in the background, all of this data is being pulled apart and then normalized, and each parameter is scored and assessed against its own relative weighting. So what does that mean? If you've got certain locations with huge figures, so if we look at Bangalore at the top there, traditionally, if you look at a traditional model for a location study and having a traditional algorithm to work out whether a given location is going to be good for fit for you, Bangalore could skew that location decision because of its in huge talent supply. It would mean that whatever the other variables are, whatever the other weightings are, it makes it very, very difficult to get beyond the fact that Bangalore had a huge talent supply. This tool normalizes that. It looks at the relative ranking of each parameter compared to the other locations and anchor points, which means that you can then weight the parameter itself rather than the output of that. This means that you can go in and look at the various different options. So this scenario, we've got all of the same data we had before, but we now have the various different parameters here, and we're ranking the parameter weighted importance. So here we've got a relative importance of 35 being put upon talent supply, 15 on demand, 25 on demand ratio, etc. These are all completely variable. So if we decide actually talent supply isn't as important, we can just drop that to 10. And you can notice below everything will stack rank and change. We also have a figure up here to tell us how much allocation we have remaining. So we might decide that ease of doing business is also 10, and existing customer or internal headcount, whatever it may be, is going to be 15. And as you can tell, as we work through these different parameters, everything will stack rank and change. We may also then decide, well, actually, we don't want talent supply to be a high figure to be good. We want a low figure for whatever reason we might decide. And once again, everything will stack rank and change. If you don't want this visual, you can simply scroll down and there's a sparkle line, sparkle graph version as well. So for a slightly different visualization, you can see it on that way. This is obviously the raw figures. You can then run different scenarios in parallel. So you can have The various different models here, we can see it's 100%, so we haven't actually entered any of the weightages we want in there yet. Similar with scenario 3, but we could put these figures in and say actually we really want talent supply on this one. It's really the most important thing, and also a cheap real estate cost. That's it. That's all we care about. And obviously off the back of that, some of the low cost options like Bangalore, Manila, Cairo all come to the top. The next option might decide, actually, I am really important in talent supply. That's 75 of my most important. But I also care about the supply-demand ratio. So I might put that as 20. And in actual fact, I also really do care about the salary and the cost. And at the moment, I've got that down as 0. So I might drop the supply to 50, but also come across to the cost and give that a 30 as well. And as you can see, everything once again will change in real time to give you the various different options and see in the given location what's going to be the pros and cons, and ultimately where you should make your decision, but also what you need to be aware of. So if we're going into a certain location, it's going in with your eyes open and with all the relevant stakeholders being aware. Doesn't have to be about location though. This obviously, the tool itself lends itself to anything where you've got that fixed anchor parameter. So it could be location, it could be M&A activity, it could be looking at which companies have certain org designs or the spans of control, it could be internal, looking at the leveling and reporting, it could be looking at candidates and how they're progressing through your funnel. Anything where you've got one specific anchor point and then a number of different parameters and you're looking to make a decision, this is a great simple tool to run the scenarios against that. Thank you.